104.5 The Team, your home for New York sports. We got the man who covers the Giants for ESPN and ESPN.com, Jordan Raanan, with us. Jordan, I'm watching this Giants team as they win 6 straight games, and I'm complaining about them because they're not blowing out teams like the Browns. Am I justified in my complaint, or am I just a spoiled New Yorker?
I think it's a combination. I mean, look, they won 6 straight. You can't take that away. That's a quality thing in this league. That's hard to do in the NFL, is win 6 straight games. I don't care who you're playing. Now, granted, their competition hasn't been good. I think their last 4 opponents are 14-40 combined this year. So that's obviously pretty bad. They haven't played much in regards to quarterbacks in the last month or so. But 6 wins is 6 wins. You know, I think there's a lot of teams that would sign for that. The reason that it's justified, though, in a way, is that you look at it and you say, okay, they're -6 for the season still. They haven't scored 30 points at any point in any game. So there are reasons for concern. Like, you're not going to beat good teams by playing that kind of football. You're just not. And I think that people look at it like, they're going to do that when they play against the better teams, which is coming up right now in this 5-game stretch. And we're going to find out if those concerns are valid or whether they're overblown real quick.
Is that schedule the biggest reason for the turnaround from the Giants compared to last season, or is it something else? Is it coaching? Is it maybe the new guys on defense? What has been the biggest change year to year?
Yeah, no, they're a better team. I mean, they're a way better team. They're especially defensively. I mean, they were awful defensively last year. They're 32nd in the league, and now they're, top 15 defense. So the difference there is monumental. They could stop people at the end of games. They actually stop people at most times in the game. Their red zone defense is among the best in the league. Really good at keeping other teams out of the end zone, and that's a humongous difference. So I think it's a combination. Number one is the players. They're better defensively. They're better on the defensive side in regards to talent. We all know that. They spent a lot of money there this offseason, so that was the plan. On the flip side, there's also, you look at coaching. They have a different philosophy. They're buying in. Everything seems to be good. They're winning these games, even though they're tight games that they could easily lose pretty much any one of these games in these last, out of those 6 games. The Browns is the closest they were to really, putting a team away. I mean, I guess I wouldn't say that at any point I thought they were going to lose to the Browns or really the Bears, but every other one of those games they could easily lost. So, but they're definitely a better team than they were last year, and their record shows.
Jordan Raanan with us right here on 104.5 The Team. Follow him on Twitter at Jordan Raanan. So, Jordan, is this is a playoff team, right? Is it a team that can catch Dallas? Is it a wild card team? What is it?
I mean, come on, catching Dallas at this point is I mean, they got to basically win out.
Right.
So unless you think they can win out, I mean, the odds. I mean, I think going into yesterday, Dallas was 1 to 15 to win the division. Okay,
Wow.
So they're probably 1 to 20 favorites. I don't think that is gigantic favorites to win the division. So do I think they could catch the Dallas Cowboys? No, I do not. I think they would have to win out to catch the Dallas Cowboys. Do I think they could go 2-3 to make the playoffs? Yes, I do think they could go 2-3 to make the playoffs. I think that is a more than realistic scenario for this Giants team. I think they should go 2-3, 3-2. Probably one of those two down the stretch here. They're a playoff team, and they're going to win it. Look, they're going to play. We haven't seen them play a full game really this year, right? I mean,
Right.
You look at the offense, you're like, they're just very unconvincing, right? At some point in these 5 games, I expect them to play a really good offensive game. I'm not saying they're going to be able to do it consistently, and that this is a really good offense, because I think after 11 games, we found out that this isn't a really good offense. That this offense is what it is right now. It's probably an average offense at best. And, they have Odell Beckham and Eli Manning, just like they had the last couple of years, and that seems to be what they have again. So I don't think that's going to change, but I think there's going to be one game here down the stretch where you're going to see the Giants, and they're going to play their A game, and you're going to see them beat a good team, and you're going to be like, oh, wow, yeah, there's potential there that this team can do damage in the playoffs. And they're going to be a playoff team, in my opinion. 2-3, definitely within sight. 3-2, I think is definitely possible as well. 4-1's they'll have their work cut out for them to do that. But if they do that, then I think you're going to look at this team. They're going to have a couple good wins on their resume going into the playoffs, and you're going to view them as serious contenders to do damage in the playoffs.
The Giants are an underdog in their matchup this weekend against the Pittsburgh Steelers. What is giving the Steelers an advantage in this matchup? Yeah, 6 points.
6.
What is giving the Steelers that big of an advantage in that matchup?
Well, hey, they're playing at home. I mean, so what do they say? You get 3 points playing at home, pretty much.
Yeah.
And you know what? And they're the Steelers, so they have a big fan base. There's a lot of people that want to put money on them. It's not really who's the better team; it's who's people going to put money on. That's how they, come up with the line. They make it so that they want action on both sides. So the Steelers have a big fan base, and people just aren't sold on the Giants. That's what it is. People are not sold on the Giants. 6 straight wins has not sold people on the Giants. And like I said before, the reasoning is there. I mean, you look at it, -6 in turnover differential, an offense that is very pedestrian and has been for really 11 weeks now. So there's reasons why people have their doubts about the Giants. And until they go and put that game together, I think that's going to continue. I mean, they're going to be underdogs next week at home to the Dallas Cowboys unless they go out and they absolutely crush the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Jordan, I always say that about Vegas. Like that line doesn't make any sense, and of course they do want they're trying to push your bets where it's even, but it almost like I could see them being a 3, maybe even a 4-point underdog. 6 makes me wonder if Pittsburgh's going to go in there and roll them.
Yeah, it just shows you the public confidence, the general public confidence in the Giants right now. I think that's really what it reflects. There is not a confidence in the general public in this Giants team. I mean, I hear people all the time. I was at the game last week, and somebody came up to me after the game, in Cleveland, and they go, and I told them before the game, I was like, this Giants offense, I mean, I expected them to have a good game because the Browns defense is terrible, but I said, offense really hasn't been good all year. They're really not that good at offense. And, people on the outside, they see Odell Beckham, Eli Manning, Sterling Shepard, Victor Cruz, and they automatically think that this is a good offense. And then they watch it and they see, they go quarters without doing anything. And they did score for the first 22 minutes against the Cleveland Browns.
Right.
And really, what they finished with less than 300 yards against the 31st ranked defense in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
So people are just unconvinced with the Giants team and the offense in particular.
Jordan Raanan with us right now, covers the Giants for ESPN, ESPN.com, right here on 104.5.
Can I ask you guys a quick question?
Sure, always.
Are you watching this team? I mean, you convinced you watch their offense?
No,
they could go in and really hand it to a good team?
No, you're literally saying all the stuff that I've been saying. Like, I haven't seen a full game out of him. Pencil Victor Cruz in for 1 catch for 40 yards. OBJ will have a good game.
Play. I give him credit. He's come back. He's like a big play receiver. He's like a clutch guy, but he's not.
But it's big
Victor
play.
Cruz of what people think he is.
Right.
Just by name.
Right.
Yeah, but it's like singular, Jordan. It's one play. Like he makes one play a game.
Jordan, there have been times your answers have been word for word what Levack has said this week, and I've actually pointed to Levack.
I'm pretty proud of myself.
That
right
sounds
now.
familiar. That sounds familiar. And we here in Albany, we have so many Giants fans. We as hosts think we're being too critical when the Giants fans are telling us, "Look how good they are." But like, Levack and I are still pulling back a little bit, like you're telling us to.
Yeah, it's just look. The evidence is there that they're an anomaly. To be -6 and to not have to have an offense that's been pedestrian and hasn't scored 30 points once. To think that team that doesn't have an absolutely dominant defense, and I know the Giants defense is much better, but this isn't this isn't a top 2 or 3 defense. This isn't. If you watch the Vikings last night, the Vikings are like a different level. You watch the Broncos; they're pretty much a different level defense when they're healthy. The Giants are like that next level. They're not the best defensively. They're certainly better and good, but they're not that good. So you look at it and you say the evidence just says to you that this probably isn't a great team. And until they show you otherwise, it's hard to really sit there and buy completely that they're serious contenders to do anything major come playoff time or against good teams. Because -6, I mean, I must have said it 5 times already today, but when you're negative in the turnover differential, there are 2 teams in the negative turnover differential that have winning records right now. 2 teams. And one of them is 8-3, and it's the Giants. The other one's the Houston Texans. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm in the belief, along with I think much of the general public, that the Houston Texans aren't for real either.
No, they're all smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
Jordan, who's going to win the fun battle of the game? AB versus OBJ.
Yeah, that's a good one, man. Those 2 guys. they both. I could watch them both play all day. I will say AB. I know AB has probably a harder matchup with Janoris Jenkins. He's better than any cornerback that the Pittsburgh Steelers could throw out there on the field. But the way that the Steelers just pound the ball to Antonio Brown, like they don't care what you're doing defensively. They're like, we're going to give that guy, with the punt returns, we're going to give that guy like 10 touches easy every game. 10, 11 touches. We're going to give him 15 opportunities to touch the ball between targets and punt returns. And we're going to let him do damage, and they do it no matter what. They don't care what you're doing defensively. The Giants, on the other hand, I'm sure you guys have talked about this. There's some games you're like, they really got to go to Odell Beckham more. They really got to target him more. They really got to get him the ball more. So I'm playing the odds here because I think they're both just tremendous players, and I'm going to go with Antonio Brown.
You are a guest with us on Football Friday. That means the last question has to be a prediction. Give us a prediction for Giants Steelers this weekend.
I predicted the Pittsburgh Steelers 27, Giants 24. This is a big game for the Steelers. They're tied for the division lead with the Ravens. They need this game. They're at home. They're a much different team at home. They're a better team at home. And I just think their offense has a better chance to put up points, or at least more points, than the Giants' offense in this game. I know the Steelers' defense isn't that good either, but, when you match up their Giants' offense against the Steelers' defense, I just like the matchup with the Steelers' offense against the Giants' defense just a little bit better. I know the Giants' defense has been good, and they have not let up a lot of points, and they've been good in the red zone. The one thing you should watch out for, and they've been susceptible to this, is allowing big plays, big pass plays. And you know what the Pittsburgh Steelers are best at?
Big pass plays.
Big pass plays. I mean, I talked to a bunch of Giants, and that's the one thing they said that really stuck out about this Pittsburgh Steelers defense. They are going to throw it downfield, and they get on you, those wide receivers, quickly. So look for that, and I think they make just enough big plays to eke out a good victory. The Cowboys were able to go in there and run it late and move the ball up and down the field late. I just don't think the Giants can do it the same way. I see a similar game, but the Giants' offense not at the end of the game in the fourth quarter being able to match them one for one and go up and down the field and score points.
Jordan Raanan, if you're checking out ESPN.com, you're learning all about the Giants from him. He calls them like he sees them, though. So if you're a Fluff fan, be careful.
Yeah, a lot of people don't like that, but hey, that's my job. I do. Hey, I've been picking the Giants the last couple weeks. I like the matchup, so this week I just think this is a tough matchup on the road. So I'm going with the Steelers in a tight one, but the Giants will bounce back. They'll still be in good shape at 8-4.
I love it, man. Jordan, thanks for making time for us, brother.
You got it, guys. Anytime. Have a good one. Enjoy it.